The sky burned red over Seoul. It had been burning for 3 days now. Dr. Taiwan Kim watched the last monitor showing the outside world flicker and die. That made it official. There was no more live feed from the surface of Earth. "Is that it?" asked Hannah Park, her voice hollow. "The last one." Taiwan nodded. He was a thin man with tired eyes that had not seen real sleep in days. Yes, the Seoul camera lasted longer than most. The underground lab had been built to withstand earthquakes, not alien bombardment. Yet somehow, 300 meters below an unmarked building, 27 people still lived while billions died above. Jun Choi, their security chief, entered the monitoring room. His uniform was still crisp despite everything. Old military habits die hard. "The air filters are working at full capacity," Jun reported. "But we should limit movement between sections to conserve oxygen." Taiwan barely heard him. On the dead screen, the last image was frozen. A strange ship hovering over the ruins of the city. The aliens had not even bothered to hide themselves at the end. Why would they? There was no one left to fight back. "They hit every major city at once," Hannah said, scrolling through the final data packets from around the world. "New York, London, Beijing, Mumbai, all gone in the first hour." "They were thorough," Jun said with grim admiration. "A perfect first strike." The aliens called themselves the Dominion. That much they knew from the message that had played on every screen and speaker on Earth just before the attack began. A simple declaration: humanity had been judged too dangerous to join the galactic community. Earth would be cleansed for the greater good. "Did anyone respond to our broadcasts?" Taiwan asked, though he already knew the answer. Hannah shook her head. "The last military bunker in Russia went silent yesterday. If there are other survivors, they're in hiding like us." The lab had never been meant to be a shelter. It was a research facility where Taiwan and Hannah had been developing new technologies to terraform Mars. Their team had been working late when the attack began, and the lab's isolated communications and power systems had saved them from the first wave. "We should tell the others," Taiwan said, standing up. His legs felt weak. "They deserve to know we're on our own now." The common area was the largest space in the facility. Once it had been filled with tables of equipment. Now it held makeshift beds and the scared faces of the survivors. Lab assistants, security personnel, and 2 janitors who had been working the night shift. Young Me, a lab technician barely out of college, was the first to ask when Taiwan entered. "Is it over? Have they left?" Taiwan looked at each face before answering. "The bombardment has stopped, but from what we can see, there's not much left up there." The room fell silent. Someone began to cry quietly. "What do they want?" asked Do Hyun Lee, an engineering student who had been visiting the lab when the attack came. "Why not just talk to us?" "Fear," Jun said simply. "Their message said we were developing too quickly. They saw us as a future threat, so they struck first." Taiwan moved to the center of the room. "We have supplies for 6 months. Maybe more if we're careful. The facility's geothermal power is still working. We have water. We can survive for now." "And then what?" Hannah asked. "We can't stay down here forever." Taiwan hesitated. He had been asking himself the same question for days. In the back of the lab was a sealed door. Behind it lay his private project. Work too experimental, too dangerous to share even with Hannah. "Then we rebuild," he said finally. "They think they killed Earth. They think they killed humanity. But we're still here." He looked around the room at the last humans he knew for certain were alive on the planet. "And as long as we're here, Earth isn't dead. Not yet." Outside, 300 meters above them, alien ships circled the burning world, making sure their work was complete. They didn't notice the tiny spark of life deep below, the last ember of humanity that refused to be extinguished. They had killed the world, but the world wouldn't stay dead. The Dominion warship fired again. This time, 3 beams struck the earth at once, carving deep holes in the transformed landscape. But something strange happened. The beams dimmed as they hit the ground, as if something was drinking their energy. "The plants," Hannah said, pointing. "Look!" Around each impact site, the metallic plants were growing rapidly, spreading outward from the blast zones. They glowed with the same energy that had tried to destroy them. "The nanites are absorbing the weapon energy," Ta-1 said with wonder. "They're using it to speed up their growth." Do-hyun stood with his eyes closed, one hand still touching the crystal. The earth is learning. Each attack makes it stronger. Above them, the Dominion ship changed tactics. Small craft began to descend. Transport ships carrying ground troops. "They're sending soldiers," Jun said. "They want to find out why their weapons aren't working." The survivors watched as 20 alien ships landed in a wide circle around their position. From each ship emerged soldiers in heavy armor, carrying weapons that hummed with power. "We need to run," Young-mai said, fear in her voice. "No," Do-hyun replied calmly. "The earth wants us to stay here. This area is the most protected." As the alien troops advanced, the ground beneath their feet began to shift. Roots broke through the soil, wrapping around armored legs. Trees bent unnaturally, reaching down to grab at weapons. Some soldiers fired in panic, but their energy blasts were absorbed by the plants, making them grow faster and stronger. "It's working," Hannah whispered. But the aliens adapted quickly. They switched to physical weapons, blades that cut through the grasping plants. A group of 10 soldiers broke through the defensive line of vegetation and moved toward the survivors. Jun stepped forward, his makeshift spear ready. "Get behind me," he told the others. Before the aliens could reach them, the crystal structures around Do-hyun pulsed brightly. The ground split open, and new growths shot upward. Not plants this time, but crystalline formations shaped like spears. They moved with purpose, striking at the weak points in the alien armor. 3 soldiers fell immediately. The others backed away, firing wildly. "The earth is protecting us," Do-hyun said. His voice had changed, becoming deeper, resonating strangely. "But it needs direction. It needs to know how to fight them." Jun made a quick decision. "Do-hyun, tell it to target their joints and visors. The armor is weakest there." Do-hyun nodded and pressed both hands against the crystal. Immediately, the attacking formations changed shape, becoming thinner and more precise. They struck at the exact points Jun had mentioned. More soldiers fell. The remaining ones retreated toward their ships. "It's working," Young-mai cried. But in orbit, the Dominion warship was preparing a different attack. A large object detached from its hull and began falling toward the planet, a bomb designed to crack the Earth's crust. Do-hyun sensed it first. "Something big is coming," he warned. "Something the Earth hasn't seen before." Taiwan looked at the sky with his makeshift scanner. "It's some kind of impact weapon. If it hits, it could destroy everything the nanites have built." Do-hyun closed his eyes again, communicating urgently with the planetary consciousness. "The Earth doesn't know how to stop something that big," he said, opening his eyes with fear. "It's asking for help." Taiwan turned to Hannah, his mind racing. "The nanites respond to human DNA. They're built to work with us, not just for us." "What are you saying?" Hannah asked. "I'm saying we need to show the Earth how to work with physics, not just biology." He looked up at the falling weapon. "We need to teach it how to move." 6 months after the nanites were released, the first patches of green appeared on the surface. Taiwan watched through a periscope-like camera they had carefully extended up an old ventilation shaft. "It's working," he whispered, stepping back so Hannah could look. She pressed her eye to the viewer and gasped. Where there had been only ash and death, small plants now pushed through the soil. But they were strange plants. Their leaves had a metallic sheen, and they moved slightly even without wind. "Those aren't normal plants," Hannah said. "No," Taiwan agreed. The nanites have adapted. They're incorporating elements from the alien weapons. June, who had been monitoring the alien scout ships, joined them with a tablet in his hand. The scouts have noticed the growth. 3 ships landed 5 kilometers from here yesterday. Did they find our vent? Taiwan asked, suddenly worried. No, June said. They're focused on the plants. They seem confused. Taiwan took the tablet and studied the grainy images captured by their few working surface cameras. Alien figures in protective suits were taking samples of the new growth. Their movements seemed cautious, almost afraid. Can we see more? Hannah asked. June nodded and pulled up another feed. This one showed a wider area where the green patches had spread further. As they watched, one of the aliens reached out to touch a tall, fern-like plant. The plant moved, not just swaying, but turning, bending toward the alien's hand. Then, faster than seemed possible, it wrapped around the alien's arm. What is it doing? Hannah whispered. The alien struggled, but more plants were moving now, converging on the spot. The other aliens backed away, then turned to run. The camera lost sight of them as they fled toward their ship. The nanites, Taiwan said, his voice a mix of wonder and horror. They're not just rebuilding the ecosystem. They're defending it. Over the next few days, they watched as the scouts tried various weapons against the spreading green patches. Nothing worked. Energy weapons were absorbed. Cutting tools were caught and dissolved. Fire only seemed to make the plants grow faster. The nanites are learning, Taiwan explained to the gathered survivors. They're taking the alien technology and using it against them. Is this what you planned? Yummei asked. Taiwan shook his head. No, I planned for them to heal the Earth. This is something more. In the lab, Hannah studied samples taken from the air vents where the new growth had begun to spread downward. Taiwan, she called urgently. Look at this. Under the microscope, the plant cells were unlike anything she had ever seen. The nanites had merged with them completely, creating a hybrid of technology and biology. They're communicating with each other, she said. All of them, everywhere. Like a huge network. A planetary nervous system, Taiwan said. That night, the survivors felt the first tremor. Not an earthquake, but a pulse, like a giant heartbeat. Do-hyun, who had been helping monitor the air quality, woke up screaming. I can hear it, he cried, his hands pressed to his head. I can hear the Earth. The others backed away, frightened, but Taiwan approached him carefully. What can you hear, Do-hyun? The young man looked up, his eyes wide. Everything. The plants, the soil, the air. It's all connected. It's all alive. He took a shuddering breath. And it's angry. Above them, the last alien scout ship tried to take off. On their monitors, the survivors watched as massive vines erupted from the ground, wrapping around the ship's engines. Plants that shouldn't have had the strength to lift a pencil tore metal like paper. The Earth was fighting back, and it was winning. The planet they thought was dead had awakened with a new purpose. 1 year after the nanites were released, the underground survivors prepared to see the sun again. Their supplies were running low, and the air recyclers were beginning to fail. They had no choice but to venture outside. The radiation levels have dropped to safe limits, Taiwan announced as the group gathered at the main airlock. The nanites have cleaned the air and soil faster than I thought possible. Jun checked his improvised weapon, a pipe with a sharpened end. We stay together. No one wanders off. Hannah looked at Do-hyun with concern. The young man had changed in the months since he first heard the Earth's voice. He was quieter now, often staring into space as if listening to something no one else could hear. Are you ready? She asked him softly. Do-hyun nodded. It wants to meet us, he said. The Earth. It's curious. The heavy door of the airlock opened with a groan of metal. Sunlight, filtered through strange clouds with a greenish tint, touched their faces for the first time in a year. They emerged into a world both familiar and alien. Where there had once been a research complex surrounded by city blocks, now stood a forest of metallic trees with leaves that shimmered like circuits. The ground beneath their feet was covered in moss that glowed faintly. "It's beautiful," Young Mai whispered. Jun remained tense, his eyes scanning for threats. "Stay alert. We don't know what else has changed." They walked slowly through the new landscape. Buildings were still visible, but many were now wrapped in vines and roots that seemed to be slowly breaking them down and absorbing the materials. "The nanites are recycling everything," Taiwan explained. "Taking what they need to build, whatever this is." Do-hyun suddenly stopped and pointed to a clearing ahead. "There, it wants us to go there." In the center of the clearing stood a perfect circle of crystal-like structures that rose from the ground like fingers. As the group approached, the crystals began to pulse with light. "What is it?" Jun asked, raising his makeshift spear. "Put that down," Do-hyun said with unexpected authority. "It's trying to talk to us." He walked forward and placed his hand on one of the crystals. The light flowed up his arm, not burning but embracing. His eyes closed. "I can see everything," he said. "The whole planet. It's connected now, all of it. The nanites have built a network that covers the entire Earth." Hannah stepped closer. "Do-hyun, what is it saying?" "It's saying thank you," he replied, opening his eyes. "It was dying, and we gave it away to fight back, to live again." Taiwan moved forward, scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. "Ask it about the aliens. Are they coming back?" Do-hyun's face grew serious. "Yes, a larger ship has entered orbit. It lost contact with the scouts." As if on cue, the sky darkened. Looking up, the survivors could see something massive blotting out the sun, a ship many times larger than the scout vessels. "We need to hide," Jun said urgently. "No," Do-hyun replied. "The Earth says we should stay. It will protect us." Around them, the forest seemed to tense, like a cat preparing to pounce. The crystal structures glowed brighter. "They're scanning us," Do-hyun said. "The Dominion ship. It's detected our life signs." A beam of light shot down from the ship, striking the ground a kilometer away. Where it touched, plants and soil vaporized, leaving a smoking crater. "They're still trying to kill us," Hannah said. Do-hyun smiled for the first time in months. "Yes, but the Earth knows their weapons now." He looked around at the survivors, "and it knows how to fight back." The crystals pulsed faster as the Dominion ship prepared to fire again. This time, the Earth would not be taken by surprise. This time, humanity was not alone. 3 months passed in the underground lab. Life fell into a routine of careful rationing and quiet despair. The survivors spoke less each day. Hope was a luxury they could not afford. Taiwan spent most of his time behind the sealed door of his private lab. Even Hannah, his closest colleague, was not allowed inside. The others began to whisper that he had lost his mind. "He hasn't slept in days," Hannah told Jun as they checked the water recycling system. "Whatever he's working on, it's consuming him." Jun nodded. "Let him work. It keeps his mind off our situation." But their situation was growing worse. That evening, Jun called a private meeting with Taiwan and Hannah. "The sensors picked up movement on the surface," he said, showing them a grainy image. "Alien ships, smaller ones. They're landing." Hannah leaned closer to see. "Scout ships." "I think so," Jun said. "They're checking their work, making sure nothing survived." Taiwan stared at the image for a long time. "How long until they find us?" "A month, maybe less," Jun said. "Our power signature is small, but they'll detect it eventually." Taiwan stood suddenly. "It's time. Follow me." He led them to his private lab and pressed his hand against the scanner. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the walls were lined with tanks filled with a silvery liquid that seemed to move on its own. In the center stood a large machine connected to the tanks by a web of tubes. "What is this?" Hannah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Our Mars terraforming project," Ta-1 said, "but I've modified it." He walked to a control panel and brought up a series of images. These are nanites, billions of times smaller than a grain of sand. Each one is programmed to repair damaged ecosystems. June frowned. "You want to clean up after the aliens. What's the point?" "Not clean up," Ta-1 said. "Fight back." He pointed to another screen showing a nanite's internal structure. "I've added a new directive. They don't just repair. They adapt. They learn. And they can use any material they find, including alien weapons residue." Hannah stepped back. "Ta-1, that's too dangerous. We don't know how they'll react to alien technology. The Mars project was decades from being ready." "We don't have decades," Ta-1 said. "We barely have weeks." He showed them a simulation. The nanites spreading across the planet's surface, absorbing radiation, breaking down toxic materials, rebuilding soil and plant life. But faster than should be possible. "You're talking about releasing an untested technology that could change the entire planet," Hannah said. "What if it makes things worse?" "Worse than extinction?" Ta-1 asked quietly. The room fell silent. Outside the lab, the other survivors went about their daily tasks, unaware of the choice being made. "How would we even deploy them?" June finally asked. Ta-1 pointed to an air shaft. "We send them up through the emergency vents. They're small enough to slip past any detection. Once they reach the surface, they'll multiply and spread." "And then what?" Hannah asked. "Then we wait," Ta-1 said, "and hope." The next day, Ta-1 called all 27 survivors together. He explained his plan simply, leaving out the most complex and frightening details. When he finished, he asked for a vote. Young Maid was the first to speak. "Will it bring back the people we lost?" "No," Ta-1 admitted. "Nothing can do that. But it might give Earth a second chance," Du-Hyun said. "A chance to fight back." One by one, they voted. Some with hope, others with resignation. In the end, the decision was made. That night, as the aliens continued their methodical search of the dead planet, Ta-1 released his creation. Billions of microscopic machines flowed up through hidden vents and into the ruined world above. The seeds of Earth's resurrection were planted, and they would grow in ways no one expected. The stolen alien ship moved silently through space. Inside, Jung studied the controls he had learned to use through trial and error. Next to him, Hannah checked the containers of specialized nanites. "How much longer?" asked young Mei, who had surprised everyone by volunteering for the mission. 3 hours, Jung replied. "The ship's computer shows the Dominion outpost just ahead." The outpost was a small moon orbiting a gas giant. According to the data they had stolen, it served as a monitoring station and supply depot. "Remember the plan," Jung told the small crew. "We land as if we're returning from Earth. We release the nanites, then we get out. No fighting unless absolutely necessary." The ship approached the outpost's docking bay. Hannah held her breath as automated systems scanned their vessel. After a tense moment, the docking doors opened. "They think we're one of them," Jun said. "The ship's identification codes still work." They landed among other similar ships. Through the viewports, they could see the outpost was busy with alien activity. The Dominion had many different species working together, all with the same cold efficiency. "Now," Jun said. Hannah opened the first container of nanites. The silvery liquid flowed out of the ship and onto the docking bay floor. It moved with purpose, seeking out ventilation shafts and power conduits. "They know what to do," Hannah whispered, "just like on Earth." The group waited tensely, monitoring the outpost through the ship's systems. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, alarms began to sound. "Look," Young Mei pointed to a nearby wall. A metallic vine was growing from a seam in the panels, spreading rapidly across the surface. On the monitors, they could see similar growth throughout the station. The sterile, artificial environment of the Dominion outpost was being transformed. The nanites were doing what they had done on Earth, adapting, learning, spreading. "They're trying to burn it out," Jun said, watching Dominion soldiers using flame weapons against the growth. But just as on Earth, the nanites absorbed the energy and grew faster. "We need to move," Hannah said suddenly. "The ship's computer is showing a large vessel approaching." A command ship. As they prepared to leave, a strange sensation washed over them. Do-hyun had said the nanites would stay connected to Earth, but none of them expected to feel it so strongly. Hannah closed her eyes and suddenly could sense the spreading network of nanites throughout the outpost. They were sending back information. "I can see it," she said. "The nanites are accessing their data systems. The Dominion. They've done this before." "Done what?" Jun asked. "Killed worlds. Earth wasn't the first. They've been cleansing planets for thousands of years." Hannah's face paled. "Any species that develops too quickly or in ways they don't approve of gets eliminated." "Why?" Young-Mei asked. "What are they afraid of?" The answer came through the nanite connection, pulled from the deepest Dominion records. Competition. The Dominion species are old. They've stopped evolving. They fear any species that might surpass them. Jun checked the monitors. "We need to leave now." As they prepared for departure, alarms blared again. They had been discovered. Dominion security forces surrounded their ship. "We're trapped," Young-Mei said. The docking bay doors began to close. Jun fired the engines, but it was too late. Armed soldiers approached from all sides. "Surrender your weapons," a voice commanded in a strange accent. Hannah looked at the containers of nanites they hadn't yet released. "We have one advantage they don't expect," she whispered. Before they could act, the doors burst open. Dominion soldiers rushed in, weapons ready. In the confusion, Hannah was separated from the others. The last thing she saw was Jun fighting desperately as she was dragged away. They had come to deliver Earth's vengeance. Now Hannah found herself a prisoner, being taken to the heart of the Dominion. The Dominion capital world was in chaos. Reports came in from every sector of their territory. Dead worlds were awakening, their unique life forms returning but stronger, more resilient, protected by the nanite technology that had saved Earth. In the council chamber, the 7 leaders argued fiercely while Hannah watched. "We must destroy Earth completely," one insisted. "It is the source." "It's too late," another countered. "The infection has spread too far." The head counselor turned to Hannah. "Your species has doomed us all. These worlds you've awakened, you don't know what they were capable of. Why we had to stop them." "You mean why you had to kill them?" Hannah replied. "Because they were different. Because they might one day be stronger than you." Alarms blared again. A message appeared on the large display. A ship was approaching the capital. A Dominion ship, but sending Earth signals. Hannah smiled. Jun had come for her. On Earth, Do-hyun sat in his crystal chamber, his mind stretched across space to dozens of awakening worlds. Each had its own voice, its own memory, its own way of seeing. Through the nanite network, he helped them remember who they had been. "Taiwan," he called. "I need you to see this." Taiwan entered the chamber. Do-hyun's body was changing. His skin had a faint metallic sheen, and his eyes glowed with inner light. The nanites aren't just changing the planets, Taiwan realized. They're changing us too. "Yes," Do-hyun said, "making us better, stronger, more connected." He smiled. "The Dominion was right to fear us, but for the wrong reasons. We're not going to destroy, we're going to create." In orbit above the Dominion capital, Jun's ship emerged from Lightspeed. With him were ships from other awakening worlds, vessels long thought destroyed, now rebuilt and enhanced by nanite technology. "All ships ready," Jun said into the communicator. "Remember, we're here for Hannah and to deliver our message. No unnecessary destruction." Young-Mei looked at the scanner. "There are 20 Dominion warships moving to intercept us. They won't fire, Jun said confidently. Not when they see what's behind us. From Lightspeed came hundreds more ships, a fleet gathered from every world the Dominion had tried to erase. Each vessel was unique, reflecting the culture and technology of its origin world, but all were alive with the same nanite enhancements. In the council chamber, the display showed the massive fleet surrounding the capital. The councilors fell silent. It appears we have visitors, Hannah said. The doors burst open. June and young Mai entered with strange allies, beings from other resurrected worlds. Some were humanoid, others utterly alien, but all moved with purpose. Hannah. Young Mai rushed forward to embrace her friend. The head counselor stood. This is an act of war. No, said a new voice. Du Hyun appeared as a hologram, projected through the nanite network. This is an act of rebirth. His image expanded, showing the awakened worlds. You tried to control evolution, to decide which species deserve to live, but life cannot be controlled that way. What do you want? The counselor asked. To offer you a choice, Du Hyun said. Join us in a new alliance where all species have the right to exist and evolve, or remain alone as the rest of the galaxy moves forward without you. Hannah stepped forward. The nanites have changed us, improved us. They can do the same for you if you let them. And if we refuse? The counselor asked. Then you'll be left behind, Jun said simply, locked in your fear while the rest of us grow. The council chamber fell silent. For millennia, the Dominion had been the undisputed power in the galaxy. Now they faced a choice: adapt or fade away. On Earth, new cities rose among the metallic forests. Humans emerged from other shelters around the world, discovering their transformed planet. Earth, once nearly killed, had been reborn stronger than before. And it was not alone. Across the galaxy, life returned to dead worlds in a symphony of renewal. They had killed the world, but it didn't stay dead. And neither would any world ever again. Hannah stood before the Dominion Council. 7 alien beings sat in a half-circle around her, each different in form but united in their cold stares. She had been brought to their main world, a planet of gleaming metal cities and sterile gardens. Human, said the center figure, tall and gray with 6 eyes. You should not exist. Your world should be dead. Hannah lifted her chin. Earth didn't agree with your plans. The aliens whispered among themselves. Another counselor leaned forward, this one with scaled skin and 4 arms. How did your species survive our cleansing? We have perfected it over 10,000 years. No world has ever recovered. Hannah said nothing. She wouldn't tell them about the nanites or Taiwan's work. It does not matter, said the first counselor. We will study you and learn your secrets. Then we will cleanse your world properly this time. Back on Earth, Taiwan worked frantically in the lab. Through Du Hyun's connection with the planetary consciousness, they had felt Hannah's capture. We have to help her, Taiwan said. If they learn about the nanites, they could develop a way to stop them. Do Hyun sat in the center of the crystal formation that had grown larger, now forming a kind of chamber. His eyes were closed, his body glowing faintly. I'm trying to reach her, he said. The nanites she released on the outpost are spreading. They're connecting to the Earth, but also to something else. Taiwan looked up from his work. What do you mean? Other worlds, Du Hyun said, his voice filled with wonder. Dead worlds. The nanites are finding them through the Dominion's network. Worlds the Dominion killed long ago. That's impossible, Taiwan said. Those planets would be completely lifeless. Even the nanites need something to work with. They're using the memories, Du Hyun replied. The Earth remembers what it was. These dead worlds remember too, deep in their cores. The nanites are waking them up. In the Dominion capital, alarms began to sound. A counselor rushed into the chamber where Hannah was being held. High One, the newcomer said to the leader, we are receiving strange reports from outpost worlds. The infection from Earth has spread to 3 systems already. And now, the dead zones are showing signs of activity. Impossible, the leader said. Those worlds were sterilized centuries ago. See for yourself, the messenger said, activating a holographic display. The image showed a planet Hannah didn't recognize. Its surface was barren rock, but as they watched, green spread across it like spilled paint. Not earth green, but a strange purple-blue vegetation unlike anything Hannah had seen before. "That's Nexus 9, whispered one counselor. "We cleansed it 800 years ago, when they developed quantum manipulation." Another image appeared, another dead world coming back to life with crystalline structures that reached toward the sky. "Bellis 3, another counselor said. They were developing biological weapons. Image after image showed planets the Dominion had killed now awakening with new life. Not human life or Earth life, but their own unique forms enhanced and protected by the nanite technology. The lead counselor turned to Hannah with new fear in its eyes. "What have you done, human?" Hannah understood then. The nanites aren't just healing Earth. They're healing every world you murdered. They're giving them back their voices. In the stolen ship, Jun and the remaining crew had escaped the outpost. They were damaged but alive, heading back to Earth with the news of Hannah's capture. "We need to go back for her," Mei insisted. "We will," Jun promised. "But first we need help." Their sensors detected something strange. Power signatures coming from worlds that should have been dead. As they watched, lights appeared on planets that had been dark for centuries. One by one, the forgotten children of the galaxy were waking up. And they remembered who had killed them. The bomb fell from the sky like a small moon. They had minutes, perhaps seconds. "Du-hyun, listen to me," Taiwan said urgently. "The Earth needs to push back, not with plants or crystals, but with force. Like throwing a punch." Do-hyun nodded and pressed his hands deeper into the crystal structure. His entire body began to glow with the same light. "It understands," he said. "But it needs power. A lot of power." Around them, the strange forest began to change. The metallic plants turned toward the sky, their leaves flattening to catch the sunlight. The ground rumbled as something massive shifted beneath them. "What's happening?" Mei asked, struggling to keep her balance. "The Earth is gathering energy," Hannah said, watching her instruments. "From the sun, from the ground, from everything." The bomb grew larger in the sky, its surface glowing red with heat as it entered the atmosphere. "It's too big," Jun said. "We can't stop it." "We can," Du-hyun said, his voice no longer entirely his own. "The Earth just needs to remember something humans know very well." "What's that?" Hannah asked. "How to hit back." The ground split open several kilometers away. A mountain of crystal erupted upward, growing so fast it seemed to be in a time-lapse video. It stretched toward the sky, forming a massive spike aimed directly at the falling bomb. "It's going to try to hit it," Ta-1 realized, like a bullet hitting another bullet. The crystal spike continued to grow, reaching impossible heights. As the bomb descended, the spike surged upward with incredible speed. The impact was blinding. A flash of light turned night into day. The shockwave knocked everyone to the ground. When they looked up, both the bomb and most of the crystal spike were gone, replaced by a cloud of glittering dust that rained down harmlessly. "It worked," Jun said in disbelief. In orbit, the Dominion warship began to turn away. Its most powerful weapon had failed. The survivors cheered, but Du-hyun remained serious, still connected to the Earth's consciousness. "It's not over," he said. "The Earth knows they'll be back with more ships, bigger weapons." Taiwan looked at the fallen alien soldiers and their abandoned ships. "Then we need to understand their technology better." Over the next week, Taiwan and Hannah studied the alien tech while Jun checked the ships for anything useful. What they found changed everything. "Look at this," Taiwan said, showing the others a holographic star map from the alien captain's equipment. "This is their nearest base." Hannah frowned. What good does that do us? We can't leave Earth. Maybe we can, Jun said. 3 of their ships are still working. You want to attack them? Yunmei asked, shocked. We're just 27 people. 26, Du Hyun corrected. I need to stay here, connected to Earth. But I've learned something important. The nanites can travel with you. He led them to a pool of silvery liquid that had formed near the crystal structures. The Earth can make more nanites, specialized ones. They can adapt to any environment, even on alien worlds. Taiwan understood immediately. The counter-invasion. Yes, Du Hyun said. The Earth says it's time to take the fight to them. Jun nodded. I'll need volunteers. 5 people who can help me fly the ship and deploy the nanites. Hannah stepped forward reluctantly. I should go. I understand the nanites better than anyone except Taiwan. And I'll stay to monitor Earth's defenses, Taiwan said. Du Hyun and I can keep working on new adaptations. That night, they prepared to split their small group. No one said what they were all thinking. They might never see each other again. As dawn broke, Jun, Hannah, and 4 others boarded the alien ship. The silvery pool of specialized nanites had been loaded into containment units. Remember, Du Hyun told them as the ship prepared to lift off. The nanites are connected to Earth. To us. Whatever world you go to, you won't be alone. The ship rose into the sky, carrying humanity's counterattack to the stars. The hunted had become the hunters.